Hi, and welcome to episode 24 of West End Talks. We're here with episode 24, and luckily, I think the background gives you a bit of a clue, but we're here today with Luke Latchman, who you'll know from Jamie, the musical. He played Saeed and also the alternate Jamie, and he's going to be playing Griff in Cinderella, the motion picture. So let's welcome Luke.
Hi.
Hi, welcome.
Hi.
Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
No, the privilege is ours. Definitely get to know you a bit better and get to hear some stories and things, I'm sure, about Jamie and other things that you've done in the past. But we'll get started. But the first question is the same one we ask everybody, and that's, what got you into performing?
Probably my mum more than anything else. I got really into. She kind of tried me at everything, at every hobby going. Bit of karate, bit of football, bit of just a little bit of musical theatre, and that just happened to be the one that stuck for me, that I kind of really enjoyed. I really got into listening to musicals with her. I really got into Chicago, as in the film.
The film.
And just fell in love with it and went, I want to do that. And kind of stuck it out. Got through secondary school and kind of thought, do you know what? Actually, I really have a thing for this. Actually, I really want to do it. So then went to college and studied musical theatre, and then went onwards. And then somehow, some way, my mum put me through a foundation course at Arts Ed, and then luckily I got onto the 3-year course, and that was it. And then I suddenly was lucky enough to work professionally, and I went, oh my God, this is possible! Amazing.
And now you've done West End, and you've obviously now just branched out into theatre.
Yeah, so unbelievable. I pinch myself all the time, like, are you kidding me? What the hell? Don't deserve it at all, but lucky me.
Oh, you
I'll take it.
You definitely do deserve it. Having seen you and Jamie, you do deserve it. You're a great performer. So what was your first performance?
My first performance, I did loads of Amdram, loads of early shows with a Better Academy, which is the school that I went to down in Kent, down Folkestone, Dover based. But professionally, the first show that I did was Working the musical at the Southwark Playhouse in London.
Right, yeah.
A beautiful venue. I love the Southwark Playhouse, and it was just this gorgeous, gorgeous show. It was only about 90 minutes long, one act, and it was just about the everyday. It was based on a book by Studs Terkel, and it was just about everyday working people working their jobs. And they just framed it to include 6 of us new grads, kind of following the stories of these people. It was fab. It was such a good show, and I absolutely loved it. But alas, it was short-lived. And that's the one.
You're just out the picture, I think.
That's me up there.
You're just out there, but that was it there. See?
Yeah.
We've dug into
You've dug out all the old pictures.
Yes.
Yeah, that was my debut, and I absolutely loved it. It was amazing. So, yeah, fond memories. And there's three of us from Arts Ed. Hewan, who's standing up next to me. Yeah, that's the one. Izuka, who's on the opposite side, who's like a superstar. Yeah, she's like movies and TVs and everything now. And then Nicola Espalado's sitting there. She was a GSA grad. Patrick Coulter up there. I want to say Bird. I'm going to be so sad if I got that wrong. And I think must be one more behind you, possibly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
No, just that's the picture that I got. Was there another?
No, there's someone missing from that one. Kerry Norville, who was a Bird grad. So I think they were both from Bird. But yeah, amazing show. Loved it.
Great. And Southwark's a great great theatre. Southwark Playhouse.
Beautiful. Love it. I love the venue.
Definitely. It's one of the best venues off West End anyway.
Yes, yeah.
So now moving on, we hold no responsibility for the next set of questions. They all come from either your fans or fans of either Jamie, which has quite a big following, and we'll kind of touch on that as the conversation goes on, and also obviously fans of other things that you've done as well. So the first question comes today from Jane, and she asks, what do you miss the most about Jamie?
I absolutely loved playing the character of Jamie, specifically playing Jamie. I loved playing Saeed as well, but there was something about Jamie that I just really enjoy, and I really miss it now. Just really delving into being that version of my true self and really enjoying it being okay to be so flamboyant and so loud and so proud and free. And I loved that, and I really, really miss getting to experience that, getting to explore that, and be in that moment for like 2.5 hours, because you don't really get to do that at Tesco, or you do it but no one cares. Whereas when I'm doing it there, it feels important. It feels like I love telling a story. I love storytelling, and you don't get to tell stories in everyday life. So getting to do that was amazing. I really miss playing Jamie specifically, but I miss just the people. I miss the show. I miss the music. I really enjoyed the choreography. So there's a hell of a lot to miss, but specifically playing Jamie and being that true, authentic, free spirit, it was just so wonderful. So yeah, I miss that.
Yeah. No. So you were part of the second kind of incarnation, if you like, reincarnation of the show. You had
John McCree.
Thank you. That's terrible. I completely took a mind blank there. John McCree and Luke Bear, who was the first kind of two incarnations, and then there was Leighton and yourself that were the two on your side. So that was, and now we've got a third incarnation now with Noah and completely forgot.
Jordan Lavinia.
Thank you. Terrible with names. You'll realise that as the day goes on.
I am too.
So moving on to something else you've done, because we'll come back to Jamie a bit more, but you did a pantomime 2 years ago.
I did it just before Jamie, so I don't know how long ago it was now, but yeah.
2018.
Well, there you go.
2018. This is it here.
Oh, I hate that promo image. I really got on them about it. I said, why have you made me look so orange? I don't understand it. For a company that's so good at promoting diversity, I don't understand why they've messed with my skin colour so much. I look like Joey Essex. It's ridiculous. But I absolutely loved doing it. And it was my first taste at playing a lead professionally. So it was insane. I loved it. And that picture being on the side of the theatre was just ludicrous. And it was all over Hammersmith. It was the most amazing experience. But that picture's horrible. I don't know why they've done that to my face.
It's still a great picture in respect of it's you were a lead in a very modern musical pantomime, because it was the Lyric Hammersmith is infamous in doing diverse pantomimes and shows and stuff. So it was groundbreaking in that respect. That obviously last Christmas Day, they had the Dick Whittington all black cast. And then the year before, obviously, was yourself as Dick. So Luke said he saw you as Dick 2 years ago. He says, is pantos harder than musicals?
They usually, pantos have really horrible schedules, like really, really horrible schedules. This one wasn't too bad in the sense that it was 8 shows a week, but the times that the shows were on were disgusting. We had about 12 10 a.m. shows during the run.
10 a.m.?
Yeah, so the show started at 10 a.m. So we were warming up from like 8 a.m. and getting ready and into costume at like 9 a.m. And you're just like, this is disgusting. There is nothing joyful about doing a show at 10 a.m. I hated it because it's for schools. So you set up for them at that time. But the times for the shows were all over the place. It was 10 a.m. one day, 1 p.m. the next, 7 p.m. the next. And then, it was so messy. And the time between each show, because sometimes you do a 10 a.m. show and like a 1:30 show, so you could get 2 school groups in one day. So it meant you only got like half hour between the shows to scoff down your food. So in that respect, yes, a lot harder. But also with panto, you don't have to necessarily, it's not as important to be really truthful and really on it. You can just have a little bit more fun with it. With me being the titular character, it was a little bit less. I wasn't allowed to have too much fun. Like if I were being a bit too silly, I'd get pulled up on it by the director. If I were pulling out scissor steps when I should be being a serious moment, the director always used to tell me, you are the central character. You need to be serious. You need to play it as though it's a true story to yourself, and everyone else around you can kind of play around with it. Like the Dame can play around, Bow Bells can play around, Queen Rat can play around, but you need to be true to the story and play it as a central, real character. So I did used to get ripped for that a bit, but yeah, no, it tends to just be the schedule of it that's really hideous. Really hideous.
Yeah, and it's such a short run, because obviously pantomimes only run over Christmas in the UK, and you've got such a short rehearsal period as well. Like musicals, you have.
Oh, short. Yeah, pantos get a really short rehearsal period. I mean, to be fair, the Jamie rehearsal period wasn't very long. I think that was a 3-week rehearsal period for Jamie, I think. And I think it was either 2 or 3 weeks for the panto. So I think, the thing is, they try to, it's a money thing, isn't it? So they try to squeeze the rehearsals into as short amount of time as possible to try and maximize profits, because obviously they're losing money during rehearsals. So, but I thought Jamie was a particularly short rehearsal period, but that is quite standard to try and, as I say, it's cheap and as quick as possible.
Mm-hmm. But that's a lot more pressure on you, though. As actors.
That's way more pressure on us. It's a nightmare, but you make it work. You live, eat, sleep, and breathe it until it's over, and that's especially true of panto. A, because it's such a short run. B, because the rehearsal process is so long, and C, because your life becomes it.
Not a problem, but yeah. So but panels are so much fun. Like definitely, I've never been in one, but just to watch them, they are completely different to musicals, obviously.
In a lot of ways.
Yes, in a lot of ways, but still as professional. Definitely still as professional use, but in a different way, because you can have a lot more, as you said, a lot more fun with the characters, and you've got a bit more kind of leeway if things go wrong. It looks like part of the script.
Oh yeah, definitely. You celebrate things going wrong in panto. It's the funniest thing on the show when things go wrong during panto.
Yeah.
But when things go wrong during a real show, you're going to get a note about it.
Aye. Yes. Don't do that again. Make sure that doesn't happen again.
Yeah.
Yes. Aye, definitely. So moving on. Sarah touches on, obviously you played Jamie. We've already established that. You played Saeed, which we'll come to, but you played Jamie. You're as Jamie. You're as Jamie. So Sarah wants to know have you tried drag outside of the show?
No. Mainly for one reason and one reason alone. I'm very lazy. I'm so lazy as a person, honestly. And I'm not a professional with makeup. I am really not. I'm not even an amateur with makeup. Like, I wouldn't even know where to start. So I very, very luckily had someone there to do it for me all the time. Her name was Lauren Appleby. Did most of it for me for most of my run. I also had Jess who started, and Lauren had covers. But there was always someone to do it for me. And it was Jess that put me into the first initial drag. And for the video section at the end of Act 1, we did that. We did that during the really short rehearsal process. So that was weird. That was kind of like before I'd really learned to walk in the heels, and it was right now I used to be a fiercest, best at walking in heels. Pow, come on down and explode onto the screen. And I was like, hang on a minute, I can't even walk in them yet. But luckily with filming, you can keep going until you've got it good.
Yeah, that's the good thing about films.
You can try again, whereas you can't try again with theatre.
No, if you're walking along the wall or the tables, but the wall, and you fall, then you fail.
You're done.
Yeah, you can't.
Everyone's
we all see it.
I'll go back.
Kind of get back up and see us again. But Tony touches on the same kind of sort of question: is have you ever thought of what your drag name would be?
Oh, I mean, I've played with it before, and I have toyed with some names, but no, I haven't actually got a set drag name for myself. But I love that question. That's brilliant.
What kind of ones have you toyed about?
Actually, there's unfortunately I missed the boat on it. There's already a drag queen called Scarlet Fever, but I had the wonderful disease when I was younger, and I kind of feel quite close to it. But also I think it's beautiful wordage. I think Scarlet is a gorgeous name, and then Fever just for me feels fiery and red and exciting and vibrant, and so although it's taken, I would I do really like that. But we used to talk about it and mess around with it all the time. We used to do puns on celebrity names, which I'm not going to attempt to remember because they'll be terrible, and they were really good at the time. But we used to mess around with it. Yeah.
No, there is some strange names out there, especially if you watch like RuPaul, and you kind of go, "Really? That's your drag name? Okay, then."
Okay. But a lot of the drag queens around the Kent scene, which is where I kind of I want to say like grew up around. I worked with them quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
I always quite liked their name. There was one friend, Amanda Bang, and obviously Cheryl Hall came down to Canterbury as well. And yeah, so I don't know. I take inspiration from those around me.
Obviously, you've worked with a famous one on stage. You had Vinegar Strokes, who obviously was a finalist and well, not a finalist, but a contestant in the first ever RuPaul.
Yes.
So when did you find out about that? Did your cast know about that beforehand?
It was so funny actually, because everyone was speculating about it, and everyone kind of knew, but at the same time, he had signed an NDA. So these are things that you have to sign for TV and film that say you can't talk about them.
Mm-hmm.
So he'd signed something to say, don't tell anyone you're going to be in it. So he spent the whole time saying, you know, he'd have days off from Jamie because he was ill. And everyone just kind of was like, oh, you know, you never really could tell what it was. And at the time, you just take someone's word for it. If they say they're ill, they're ill. But in hindsight, like when you look back, you go, you were off auditioning, weren't you? Or you were doing a workshop day or some promo filming, which is always funny to look back and think. But at the time, we weren't allowed to know. So although it was hearsay and people there were whisperers about it,
mm-hmm.
He wasn't allowed to actually tell us because of the NDA that he signed.
No, that makes sense. I'm sure you signed, because you must have known about Cinderella for a long while before we did.
Yeah,
so things like that.
Exact same thing. So Can't talk about it.
Did you know in the show? Did you know when you were doing Jamie that you had got Cinderella? When did you find that out?
It was a bit of a really strange overlap, actually. They waited till really late to offer me to stay in the show. So loads of people had already been offered. Do you want to go on tour with the show? Do you want to stay here with the show, or do you want to leave the show? And they left mine till really late because I think because they were trying to find a Jamie and they didn't know if I'd be able to cover him, basically. So they didn't know if they were offering me Saeed or if they were offering me Saeed cover Jamie. So by the time they offered me, I had auditioned for Cinderella, I think like a couple months prior, but didn't hear anything for a long time. And then finally got an offer through from Jamie saying, do you want to stay? And so my agent got on to Cinderella, and by that point they'd said, well, we've penciled him in, maybe, we think we like him. And my agent got back to them and said, he's now been offered to stay in Jamie, do you want him? And that's when they said, oh yeah, we'll have him. And we do want him. And so then it was a balancing act of, can I stay in Jamie and do the film? And it was kind of swinging about, and the contract was, and what they were offering me was kind of going up and down. And it was a lot of back and forth thing. And eventually we as in me and my agent just decided it was best for me to leave Jamie on a high, have had an incredible year, loved every minute, and now go and do something else. Yeah. So I would absolutely not have left Jamie if I didn't have something to go to, because I am a sucker for security, and I'm a sucker for safety and for knowing what's going on. And especially with me now mortgaging a house, my priority was, how am I going to pay that mortgage? So it was only because I was offered the other thing that I said I'd leave this to go and do that. Mm-hmm. And now Corona struck, and we've had to suspend filming. But
everybody's kind of been thrown out of work.
Yeah, everyone's thrown to the wall a bit, especially theatre. That's going to be even harder to get back than film. But yeah,
we'll get there.
It's really hard.
Come back.
Absolutely, it absolutely will. It's just a question of when.
Yes. Unfortunately, Macintosh has already made the decision. NIMAX haven't yet, so there's been no announcement of Jamie. I think it's now to the September. I think it's been at the moment. The last
I've
announcement?
seen Cam Mack have said they're not open until at least 2021.
Yeah, so
which
they've
is
said, so his theatres are
yeah.
not open to it, but obviously Jamie was in an IMAX theatre, so they've not
Yes.
I think their
Yeah. Oh, CSD.
announcement
Sorry.
is,
Yes.
yeah. So I
Yeah. I
think
see. I see.
they're September, I think.
Right. Yeah. I
It's
see.
at the moment. So obviously that could change at any
Who knows?
point. Who
Yeah.
knows? It might never change. Anyway, moving on. Lottie wants to know, who was your favourite character in the show?
I mean, there's a lot to love about a lot of characters. I really enjoyed different things about different characters. Obviously, the mum as a journey, I think, is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I think I really understand that relationship. I really relate to the relationship. I had a single mum as well who we left London because of a man, and so I really relate to basically to the fairly abusive partner and her journey of escaping that and living sort of in a way living her life through her kids, but at the same time absolutely not doing that.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah,
Just
makes
the
sense.
kind of sense of I think what I'm trying to say is the way that she makes sure that she gives her kid everything that kid needs and desires because she knows that it's been so hard for her.
Mm-hmm.
I think is what I'm trying to say. I also love the character of Hugo. Whenever we speak about character development, like in rehearsal process, I love hearing the idea of him being a washed up drag queen who was never too successful, but was always fighting for it and has kind of lost his energy to it completely, and then gets revitalized by Jamie. So I love his character journey as well.
Yeah,
But
no,
there's a lot to love about a lot of
and
characters.
you've got Ray as well, who has some great lines.
Oh, fab!
Right.
Yeah,
Absolutely fantastic
character.
lines.
Yeah.
She's a great character. Definitely. Shy Sings on Instagram. That's their name. I don't think that's their actual name, but it's their Instagram name, certainly. Has asked, what song do you think I should sing next? She would love your suggestions, or they would love your suggestions.
I have no idea. What's
We ask all questions.
It would depend on their voice type and their range and what they're trying to achieve with the song. I really can't help there. You said Shy Sings is asking what song should they sing next?
Yes.
I don't know.
Have a look and maybe comment on one of their posts.
I'd have to know more about them.
We'll send you the Instagram name and you can maybe have a wee look and see.
Do that.
See if you can suggest one that way. So Robert asks, actually a very good question, I would say. If you had to give your 16-year-old self one piece of advice now, what would it be and why?
Piece of advice that's spread around theatre quite a lot is don't be a dick.
That's
and
a good one, yes.
it kind of means the reason it's spread around theatre a lot is your reputation will always precede you, and if people think you're difficult, they will never want to work with you. And I was young, of course I did stupid stuff, but I really regret some of the things I did or said when I was younger. Maybe it was a little bit younger. It was a little bit younger than 16. I think it was more like year 8, year 9. That I just said some silly stuff or stuff that I regret now looking back on. So I think on one hand, I want to say my advice is don't be afraid and be true to yourself, because whoever you are is enough. You are enough, and that's beautiful. And if people want to question your flamboyance, let them. It's not their problem. You enjoy you, and you do you, and don't try and conform to others. And my other advice to myself is don't be a dick. Think about what you're saying. Think about the effect it's going to have on people, and just be sensible. Don't. Yeah, I said some things that I didn't like at the time. So
I think we've all done that. Don't worry.
yeah,
we've all said some things that we maybe shouldn't
why
have
did
said
I do that? Why did I say that? That was so wrong. But yeah,
we've all been there. Don't worry.
I've always had that problem as well. I always speak before I think.
I'm quite bad at that as well. I've got to say, I'm quite bad at
bad, isn't it?
Yeah,
bad habit.
saying and then go, maybe I shouldn't have said that, but it's too late. It's out there.
Yeah, could have been worded better.
So Sophie wants to know, since we're on the idea of advice, she wants to ask for one piece of advice that you would give to students.
Probably what I said. You are enough. You don't need to second guess everything you do, but you can believe in what you're doing. Trust yourself and have faith in yourself. Don't constantly be seeking approval from others or from your teacher or from anyone. Yes, it's lovely to have good feedback, but remember who you're really trying to impress is yourself. You need to work for yourself, and listen. Just listen. I know that sounds really silly, but when you're nervous, or when I'm nervous, and when I get a bit frightened, my first thing to do is retreat into my shell and talk to myself and beat myself up, and not really just be calm, be quiet, listen, and take the advice of whoever, your superior, if you will.
A bit more than one. No, but that's good. It doesn't matter. That's some good advice. We're not sticking to steadfast rules here. Don't worry. But you can give as many pieces as you want. So Rebecca wants to talk about the other role that we've discussed already. The obviously is of Griff. That you're going to be playing when the film A starts recording again, gets filmed again, and B when it eventually gets released. But no doubt that will be pushed back. It's supposed to be next summer. Is that correct?
I think it was supposed to be February of next year was the intention.
Is it as early as February?
It was supposed to be, but it won't be now.
No. Well, the Jamie movie has just been pushed back, and it was supposed to be October.
Yeah.
So it's obviously now January, February time. So
yeah,
everything's getting pushed back, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Which is not great, but that's Rona for you. That's another drag name, Miss Coronavirus.
Nice. I like it.
I think that will come out.
Very topical.
Yes, very topical at the moment. I don't know why that came to my head there, but Rebecca, she wants to know, what was it like when you got the call for Cinderella?
It was a terrible story, this. I was in bed at the time. It was about 10:30, because when you're doing shows, when I'm doing shows, okay, just to save myself, I'm currently working at Tesco and I have to wake up at 3 a.m. So if I have to do it, I do. But whilst I was on Jamie, I was waking up at more like 10 or 10:30 a.m. Yeah. And I kind of speak like this in the morning. I haven't got a voice. Like, I have nothing there. So I woke up to the buzzing of my phone. I saw that it was my agent. I went, oh, what do they want? This is odd for them to call me first thing in the morning, because they start at 10 a.m. So I answered, I was like, hello. and my agent down the phone was like, hi, is this Luke Latchman, star of Stage and Screen? And I was like, huh? And she was like, you've just booked your first film gig. And I was like, what? Like, what? And she was like, yeah, they want you. Cinderella want you. You've got the gig. And I was like, what? And so I didn't really take it in. She was like, I'll call you back later. So I hung up the phone and processed it and took it in, got really excited with Holly, my partner, and then just like, it kind of dawned on me, like, I'm going to be in a musical film. That's been a dream of mine. Like I said at the beginning, actually, I don't think I did say, I got into musical theatre via Chicago.
You did say that, yeah.
Oh, I did. The musical movie. And so being in a musical movie, always been an absolute goal and dream of mine. So I was literally being told, you're going to be in a musical movie. I was like, what? But I know this isn't your question.
Fine.
But when I found out about Jamie, I was in the toilets at Dick Whittington, because again, I saw my agent call and I went, oh, just go to the toilets there. It's the most quiet private place I can find in the building. And I was squealing in the toilets. I was I think it must have been during a rehearsal. It was during the last week of rehearsals for Dick Whittington. Oh no, it can't have been. I don't know now. I think it was. Anyway, that's so not the point. And I was in the toilet, and just like, they've offered you Saeed and first cover Jamie. And basically, when I auditioned for the role, I was auditioning for, because originally with the first incantation of the show, or incarnation, sorry, incantation, it
I
was,
knew what you meant.
yeah, the person playing Saeed was second cover Jamie, i.e. Jordan Cunningham. So when I auditioned, I was auditioning for Saeed second cover Jamie or Swing first cover Jamie. And in the audition, I said, I really want to be in the ensemble. I love the ensemble of this show. And I don't believe in myself enough to be a swing. I think you have to be a real type of amazing type of person to be a swing.
Yeah.
And for me, that's a hard job that doesn't come with enough gratitude. I don't feel like swings are appreciated enough, but they work so hard.
We've actually talked to one of the swings from Jamie, actually, Rico Baker.
Yes.
Who's just started after you left, actually. He started
right. Oh, okay.
He was one of the swings.
It's such a hard job. A hard job. And so to be a swing and cover Jamie is like, I think it's crazy. I don't get it. I don't get why you'd get someone to learn every ensemble track and the biggest lead in the show. It's like, but anyway, that's neither here nor there, because I said I want to be in the ensemble, and so they offered me Saeed and first cover Jamie, and I was squealing and talking, first cover, what? First cover. So that was amazing. That was another amazing when you found out story.
Great. We always like, these are the stories we like to hear. This is the whole point in getting the fans to know Luke rather than first cover Jamie, or Griff, or Saeed, or whoever else you've played. So moving on. I've lost. Oh, Alan wants to know: have you met Camila Cabello, and what is she like?
She is wonderful. We've been out a couple of times together because she was very new to staying in the UK, and so she wanted to get to know people, and so she was very, very forward. She is very, very forward. And what are we doing? Can we meet up? Can we go and do something? And so I think the first time that I met her properly, I met her once or twice in the rehearsal rooms for Cinderella, and the first thing I thought when I saw her is, oh my God, I love your track pants. She had gorgeous tracksuit trousers on, and I live in tracksuits, part of me being so lazy. And she had beautiful track pants on, and I was like, oh my God, I love them. But then when I really met her was when we met up in Camden Market in London Bridge, Camden Town, Camden Market. And I just spent the day with her, got to know her. We mostly both spoke about relationships, our partners, and just love, because that's what we're most interested in at our age. So she's lovely. She's so lovely, and I really look forward to going back and working with her again, because I miss the whole cast so much.
No, that must have been strange sitting here talking to Camila Cabello.
Amazing.
As you do.
So cool. Yeah.
Everybody does this every Saturday, you know.
Yeah, no big. Just chilling with Camila Cabello.
Yeah.
And she's just gonna. Shawn Mendes is calling her. She's just gonna go and talk to Shawn.
So have you met him yet? Was he on this?
Yeah, I met him at Camila Cabello's 23rd birthday party. We were shooting it. Yeah, no big. We were
just a hard 23rd birthday, you know.
We were shooting in Blackpool, and her I want to say manager was set up a little surprise birthday for her, and he flew over for it and was there as well. And her mum as well. Camila Cabello's mum is so lovely. But yeah, so I met Shawn there, and all I mustered was, I really like your shoes. He was like, thanks. That was kind of it. But I mean, I spoke to him a bit as well. But that was the most exciting thing I said was, love your shoes.
Nothing but your songs. I just love you.
No, just great shoes.
So it's nice to see that we can all be starstruck. And so we can all fangirl at stage door.
how do I do this? Because as well as that, again, this is irrelevant, but the director of Cinderella is Kay Cannon, and she wrote Pitch Perfect, the movies.
Yeah.
And I love the Pitch Perfect movies. So when I speak to her, I mean, she's probably sick of it now, but I always kind of work in. I love Pitch Perfect. Just letting you know, I love Pitch Perfect because I'm such a fan of it, and I can't believe I'm working with her. So yeah, that's amazing.
No, but it'll be good to see. I'll be at the premiere, definitely. Leicester Square if they have a.
Hopefully, I'll be there.
And it'll be everybody will be shouting Camilla, and I'll be going, look. Never mind, Camilla who? No, I want Luke Latchman.
Oh, you'll love her. She's so lovely.
Yeah, I've not met her yet. She's on my list. But obviously, she's not just the only name you've worked with. Obviously, you've worked with loads of big names with the likes of Jamie, as well as other things you've done. But because obviously you've got Billy Porter, who's in
who I haven't met because Billy Porter's scenes are all separate to anything that I do. So I haven't actually met Billy Porter at all. And James Corden, he was on a Zoom call that we did as a full company when lockdown happened. Again, it was Camila Cabello's idea. She said, shall we set up a call? It would be really nice to see everyone. That's what I mean. She's that person. She's so lovely and open and welcoming, and let's meet up and let's talk so she's great for that. And so I kind of saw him on that, and I was like, God, I'm in a Zoom call with James Corden. What the hell? This is so cool. But that was another real starstruck. I'm just going to sit here and listen to you because you've done everything. Yeah, I think the first big names I worked with that were like mainstream big names, because I worked with some people that have been in the business for Peter Polycarpou, who's been in the musical theatre industry for a long time and is a legend. Dean Chisnell, who's now playing Jean Valjean, and like all these fantastic people, and Kristen Cummings, who was in the original Rent cast. They were all in working. But the first like mainstream big names I worked with were Aid Edmondson and Cara Toynton at the RSC. Were probably the ones that my family and friends were like, oh my God, I can't believe you're working with Aid Edmondson. That's so cool. But yeah, I've met a lot of really, really cool people being so lucky to be employed.
No, definitely. Not to take anything away from you guys or anything, but you had Leighton, who was in your Jamie. You had Shane Ritchie, wasn't he? Was he in your production, wasn't he?
You go for us, yeah.
Yeah, so you had, and then you had the guy from Emmerdale in Coronation Street.
Bill Ward?
That's him, thank you. Completely forgot his name. Terrible names. I can tell you what musical they've been in, or if they've been in a TV show, but that's where it ends with me.
That's it.
Like, so what's your name again?
Yeah.
Yeah, look, like, okay, you were in Jamie, weren't you? That's the kind of...
yeah, I'm behind you.
Yeah, oh, that's like you there, isn't it?
That's me.
So, yeah, but no, it's definitely some big names. I'm trying to think, because this is the production. I've got the programme here. You're in this.
Rita Simon was lovely. Hayley Tamadon was gorgeous. Yeah. And obviously Roy Haylock was gorgeous. Oh, that's me.
Were your autograph?
Yeah, see, I told you I'd met you before.
I think at that production you were... It was Leighton there. Let me check. Because I've got a different... Yeah, Leighton was there, so you must have been Saeed in that production. Because I don't take programmes back, usually. So that was usually. I usually get a new one and get it outside if I go back. I don't get one every time. But no, so obviously, and Rebecca McInnes was your mum.
Yes.
Who obviously is now Evan's mum, or Sam Chris's mum. And Evan Hansen. So you've all gone on, and obviously Leighton's now gone on the tour, along with Shane and things. So you've all gone on to bigger and better things. You've all progressed from Jamie. So moving on, Darkness to Child Instagram page didn't have a name on it, so I can't give you a proper name. Asks, what do you do for fun during lockdown, apart from work at Tesco's?
I am really into my computer games. I spend a lot of time on computer games. I should spend more time practicing and singing, but I love playing my Nintendo Switch and my PlayStation, unfortunately. So I also love a bit of Netflix. Really enjoyed watching Tiger King. Really enjoyed all that. I've still got loads of things that I need to watch. I haven't watched the new season of 13 Reasons Why yet.
No,
So
I've got that to watch.
Yes. So I watched the first episode and then went, do you know what? Not now. Let me move into the house and then we can watch it. So I've got that on my to-do list. But yeah, that's pretty much it. My go-to for fun is computer games, followed by Netflix.
I think, to be honest, that's everybody's go-to at the moment in lockdown.
Especially
Netflix.
Yeah.
Especially Netflix and Disney Plus.
Yes.
Disney Plus is
yeah.
where you've got
I've watched all the Star Wars movies on Disney Plus because I'd never done that before. I'd only watched the first 3. And so I watched all 9 of them. Well, it was about 11 or 12. And just loved it. It was
so
great.
Is that the first 3 or the 4, 5, and 6?
I watched the episode 1, 2, 3. They're the only ones that had watched previously. I never watched 4, 5, 6. So I fell in love with 1, 2, 3, whereas everyone else was like, nah, 4, 5, 6 is where it's at, man.
4, 5, 6 was the originals.
Yes, it was.
Obviously,
which is why everyone was like, nah, that's where it's at, man, because you fall in love with the first thing you see. So, or that's my opinion anyway.
Yeah.
And so, but I watched them all mostly in chronological order, although I was recommended watch number 4 first because that really sets everything up. And it was really rewarding watching that and then going back and seeing a young Luke Skywalker. Anyway, I'm really going off the point. Sorry about that.
You're absolutely fine. This is why I like these chats.
This is the Star Wars chat. I'm so sorry. I'll let it go. You get the point. Star Wars, great. Loved it.
That's why I love these chats, because people just go off on a tangent.
Really got lost there. Sorry.
You're absolutely
I just said
fine.
Luke Skywalker and went, why am I talking about Luke Skywalker?
It's been a while since you talked to anybody. That's what it is. Anybody that's not family, we all get you that. Yeah, we're locked down talking. I'm dreading to go back to work because it's like, how do you talk to humans again?
Yeah, how do you do this?
Like, how do I actually get to work?
Yes.
Normally it's just sit here and just work away. So CJ asked, if you had to go back into Jamie, right, who would you go in as? If you could go in as any character from Jamie.
I want to be Jamie. I want. Yeah, I loved it. I want to play that role, but obviously I'm slowly aging out of it, and I can't do it forever. Yeah. Well, that is a real mugshot.
That's the end. That was actually you as your Jamie debut. That was on your debut.
That was terrifying. I didn't hate every moment of it, but at the same time I hated every second of it, because it was just survival. It was just the whole time I was just bricking it and like really trying to hold it together, but I was so scared, a proper rabbit in headlights the whole time through it. Apparently when Adam I've forgotten his surname, Adam Tyler.
You know me with names.
I'm so sorry. Who was Swing's second cover Jamie? Apparently he was really chill when he went on. He was like really like, no, I've got this. It's cool, no problem. Go on,
I'm busy looking for his name in the program.
So he was really chill about it. But
Adam Taylor.
I'm so sorry that I forgot that. Sorry, Adam. But I was just friggin' terrified, and I came off and everyone was like, wait, and I was handed a champagne and it was really cute, and I was like, oh, thanks, and I drank a bit, and I shouldn't have because I don't really drink, but I drank a bit as a celebration, as a thank you, and because I thought it was sweet and cute and everyone was there. And then I was so I met up with Holly after every show to go home, and we got kind of as far as the tube station, and I think her dad came to see me in that first debut as well, and I was like, I really don't feel too good. I feel awful. Like I'm so drained. And it was the first show of the week as well. My first show on was a whole week of shows. I was like, I feel absolutely dreadful. And I got home and she was like, do you feel any better? And I was like, no. And I was actually sick, just from the pure adrenaline and fear and pent up tension. It just finally came out. But that wasn't even a question. So yeah.
I'm loving it. So many tangents.
Exposition.
So many tangents. It's great, and I'm just letting you go on. I'm just
That was
here.
just talking about the picture in the background.
That was no. That's just so I just let you go. So Roxanne wants just to ask a bit about, you touched on, obviously you were in with A. Edmondson in the RSC, sorry. But Roxanne wants to know, what is your favourite Shakespeare play?
Oh, that's a really hard one. I know it's a bit cliche, should we say? But the one that I worked on the most when I was younger was Midsummer Night's Dream. And like way back in an old Stagecoach production, I played Puck. And so I kind of, like I say, the first one you experience is the one you fall in love with.
Yeah.
That was the first one that I really experienced and delved into and understood. So I have a soft spot for Midsummer Night's Dream for that reason, really, because I fell in love with it first, and I like fairies and I like magic, and I play a lot of fantasy games, so it was up my street as well.
Great. Mine's got to be Macbeth for obvious reasons.
The bloody Scots.
Good Scots play. Emma wants to know, if you could play any character from a Shakespeare, who would it be and why?
Wow, that's a really, really tough question. I mean, probably I'll just roll it into the previous question, Puck, because I think for me, in a sense, being a fairy, that for me can absolutely be a genderless creature, and it therefore doesn't have to conform to any gender norms, which I know we don't have to, but we're expected to, and there's a kind of sense about it, and so blah 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 blah. So I think, yeah, exactly, all of that. And so I think I would love to play Puck and be able to play him again with my authentic, true, bubbly, free self, rather than the what society deems is okay for me to behave kind of version of me. The tame kind of don't want to have anything said against me kind of version. I'm not explaining myself very well. I'll just say very, very briefly. So I was at work, and there were three guys standing round, and they were all kind of looked like they were in a pose. I said, "Oh, you guys look like the Backstreet Boys." And another colleague decided to pipe up and say, "Oh, you really woke up when you said that. You really piped up. That got you going, didn't it?" And I just thought, for me, that was really, really unwarranted, and it really made me uncomfortable, and I really didn't like it. But I didn't really know how to approach it. So that's what I mean when I say, with a character like Puck, you can be whoever and whatever you want, and no one's going to question it or say anything. But maybe I digress. That's all I'm trying to say. I like being able to be me and not being told off or judged for it.
100%. And I think that's one of the things. That's why Jamie's become such a big thing, because that's one of the many stories.
Yeah, be your authentic self, and that's okay. And no one should question you on it.
If you want to be me, then you be me.
Absolutely, and that's the beautiful thing about Jamie, that it is all about, no, you be your authentic self. Let others deal with it. You don't have to conform to them.
Completely. And I think the scene at the end, without giving it too much away, because some people might not have seen it, but obviously the scene right at the end with the school prom really brings that home, and brings that whole thing home.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely. So Carol wants to know, if you had to go into lockdown with one character from Jamie, who would it be and why?
Oh,
so looking at characters, not who plays them.
Not performers. If I could go into lockdown with one character, who would it be? Oh,
we're getting this one a lot at the moment.
I think Saeed would annoy the hell out of me. I couldn't be put in lockdown with Saeed. He's too much like me. He's too bloody stupid, and he asks too many questions, and he says too many dumb things, which is exactly like me. So I couldn't deal with another me. So I would probably. I am such a fan of Pretty Pasha. I think as a character, she is so on point with what is right and what is that her priorities are all right, and her way of life and the way that she goes about things. I'm a big Pretty Pasha fan. So I would probably, if I were to go into lockdown with anyone, probably for the fact of, I feel like she'd give me the most sound advice. It would be Pretty Pasha. but obviously because of the age of the character, I suppose it wouldn't be, because any 16-year-old is going to be a pain in the ass to deal with, because I'm an adult now and I can't be dealing with that.
You don't deal with children.
I can't be doing that anymore. So it would probably be Ray, because I think she'd just be a hell of a laugh, and I'd just be able to sit and watch Netflix with Ray and be like, who gives a crap, and slam
We're on a third bottle of the wine of the night, but who cares?
Exactly.
That
Should be a laugh, wouldn't she?
Definitely a laugh, 100%. Adriana says, you were my favourite Jamie. What feedback did you get from the real Jamie, if any?
I don't actually think he ever saw me play Jamie. He kind of was like, oh yeah, I must come and see it. I must come and see you do it. But I was always like, oh no, like no pressure, because I never ever like putting pressure on people to come and see me in anything. I just don't feel like it's my business. If they want to come and see it, great. But I'm never going to go, you must come and see me, or please come and see me, because unless it's my mum or dad, then you have to come and see me.
And that's different.
Yeah, but no one else, but just you.
And Holly.
So, sorry?
And Holly now. Surely Holly.
And Holly will always come, because she wants to know what's going on. She'll never not, because she won't want people talking and her going, huh? What do you mean? He did what? She wants to see it. So she'll always come and see it for her own interest.
So what did she say when you said, oh, I'm going to play a drag queen? Or not a drag queen, but a person that does drag. I think she just celebrated it with me. She just loved the idea of me playing a lead. She likes to protect me. She likes to look after me, and she is very, very concerned about kind of what I said about how people perceive me, and how people will always judge you, and people will always put you in a box or something. And so she was always quite kind of worried about that. She was like, but she'd already seen me do Spring Awakening, where I had this really passionate, rather lengthy kiss with Ernst and Hanshen. So she'd kind of seen it all before. There's nowhere you can go from there. That's a full-on kiss with another male on stage is, yeah.
It was just kind of like and she'd watched that a few times as well. So I think she's pretty comfortable with me doing anything now, because she's seen the most extreme. So she's like, well, where can you go from there? So
has she not seen like Bear the Musical, for example? You could go and do that. Yeah, absolutely, very true. There's absolutely more that can happen. There's further to go. Yeah. So, but I just think I just mean in terms of from Spring Awakening to Jamie, it wasn't like a. And she knows that I'm so flamboyant and so free-spirited, and it kind of kills her sometimes, because she likes keeping things quiet and not drawing attention. Whereas sometimes my persona does draw a crowd and is very loud and, hey, look at me. I think that's actors. Actors are very good at it. But that's not a bad thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing.
No. I agree, and at the same time, I know a lot of actors who are very introverted and are very, know when to switch it on and off. Whereas I'm a bit more like, I don't really like switching off.
But that's your personality, and you don't do that 100%. And that's like me. I'm very quiet and shy, and says me with the glitter jacket on.
See, I'm so shy.
And the West End Live t-shirt, you see that?
So shy. It would
have been this weekend. You obviously.
It would have been.
It would have been today.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, today I wouldn't have been sitting talking to you today. I would have been in Trafalgar Square. But hey ho, things happen. So Brandon wants to know, what's your favourite takeaway? We ask all questions that we get in.
All the hot questions, you got it all.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, my partner's just asking me. I've been a while. Oh yeah, I have been a while. Yes. Favorite takeaway, probably Indian at the moment, because I've recently gone vegan, and it's probably the easiest takeaway to get vegan versions of. Also, I found there's a lot of vegan food with Indians, Indian food. Chinese is quite hard to get vegan. Pizza, the vegan pizza is never quite as good, and it's a bit harder to get. So Indian for that reason, because it's good for vegans.
There we go. Only a couple more questions. You'll be glad to know. We're nearly finished. Beth wants to know, what was it like performing at Pride? So that's obviously a different type of performing, although you were still Saeed.
They are those events at Pride and West End Live, because they were the same set. Look at that hair. Pride was crazy. Like it's so alive. It feels more live than theatre, because you're out essentially in the streets doing it, which is like really scary. It's like really, really out there. But it was amazing. It was an awesome experience, and the crowd at the end, because there's so many of them, it's just like stadium levels of eruption, just like. So that was really exciting for that. Just kind of like the real buzz of it was such a big thing.
No, definitely. And obviously you were that was the first time you were in the same lineup as Mr. Porter. Because Pride last year, obviously, Billy Porter headlined.
Yes, of course, yeah.
So he headlined, and obviously
everything comes round, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Actually, now that you say that, he did a speech, I think, and came out as we were going in, and everyone in the cast was like, "That was Billy Porter. That's Billy Porter. Oh my god, that's so funny that you should say that." Yeah, it's such a small world.
To get to actually work on the same film as him. Maybe not in the same scenes,
so
but
crazy.
Still in the same cast
in the
list.
Same, yeah.
As the first male, fairy godmother, I think that's brilliant. Like, I think he'll be fantastic in that, without a doubt.
Brilliant, genius. It's fab.
Without a doubt. 2 more questions. 3 more questions. Dan asks, what's it like playing in one of the biggest LGBT stories in musical theatre history?
Amazing. I couldn't be more behind it. I couldn't be more happy for it. I've seen so many people say I've never seen myself represented on stage until this show, and I think that is a beautiful, beautiful thing, because like I've said 100 times in this interview, being your true, authentic self is so important. And if you don't see that represented in art, then how can you ever associate it with being the norm or being okay? And with a show like Jamie, it is the norm in the show. And so to be a part of that and to tell that story was honestly the most beautiful, beautiful thing. It was one of the things that I missed the most about playing Jamie, that the story means a lot to a lot of people, and is very, very needed and necessary and important. And so I'm so thankful to have ever been given the chance to be a part of it. Honestly, it was the most amazing year I've ever had. I loved it every minute.
No, definitely. It's fantastic. And I do see some of myself and Jamie, not the full thing. I don't do drag.
No, absolutely.
But I do see myself and Jamie. Second last question from the fans. Peter asks, have you met any of the film cast, so i.e. the Jamie film cast, and did they ask you for any advice? For example, Max or Zane?
I did meet some of the film cast. Not an awful lot of them, and not for a very long period of time. I met the Max Harwood, the film Jamie. We met at a Jamie fan event, and he was lovely. I met the film Pretty and Zane from the film as well, who was playing Saeed in the film, and he asked me that question: "Do you have any advice?" And I was like, "Mate, you booked the job. This is yours now. There's no advice for you. Just be yourself and enjoy it." Because I didn't book it, you did. So you do you. You know what you're doing better than me. That would always be my advice. I can't make you booked it. I can't make you any better than you already are.
That's some good advice for him. Yes, definitely. Last fan question. Sally wants to know, apart from Cinderella, what's next for Luke?
No idea. At the moment, nothing.
Nothing at the moment.
Back at Tesco for me. The industry has ground to an absolute halt at the moment. So I was auditioning for things, and it got to the point that I self-taped for something because things shut down, and then I just never heard anything back because all theatres and all shows just stopped. So at the moment it's just Cinderella and nothing else.
It'll be back up, without a doubt. It'll be back up and running.
Yeah, and it will be, and then I'll have to fight and try and get my next job. Fingers crossed.
You'll be back in something, without a doubt. Broadway might be calling. That's your next thing. Get you over to New York. That's the fans' questions over. You'll be glad to know. You can relax, take a breath of relief. Just the not so quick fire round, which we'll learn a bit more about Luke rather than Saeed or Jamie or Griff or anyone else you've played. So the first question in that is, what would your dream role be?
I really
of age or
for
race.
this. I really should have an answer for this because I get asked it a lot, and I always say I don't have a dream role. I love discovering things. I love new roles. I love new pieces. I think it's really rare for a new show to gain ground in the UK. We tend to pride all of our standard, like we love these shows that have been running for years rather than supporting new theatre. So I always find it really exciting when a lovely new piece of theatre comes along and it grabs my attention. And for me, Jamie being 3 years old, not even that, is really new. So that was really exciting. I never knew that I wanted to play Jamie. Never knew it. Did the first audition for it, and then went to Holly and went, I can't think of a better role to play. I really, really, really want to play Jamie, and then was very, very lucky to get offered the first cover. But if I were to have an answer for it, it would probably be Sweeney Todd from Sweeney Todd, because I don't know. I would like. I kind of like how dark he is as a character and how ingrained it is in him. But who knows? That role's like 30 years off. So
you're a bit young for that one at the moment.
I'm a little bit young for that one at the moment.
Yeah, just a few years.
Just a few. Yeah. So for now, I just like to keep exploring and seeing what's out there and seeing what I can do, and then figuring out if I want to do it, sort of thing.
It's a good answer. Definitely, Jamie, you mentioned that it's definitely one of the biggest British musicals, homegrown musicals, in certainly the last 10 years. There's only a handful that I can think of off the top of my head, and that's Six and Juliet.
Yeah.
That's about the only
it's so hard for new British theatre. There was a show that I did that I absolutely loved, like with a passion, in Chichester, called Flowers for Mrs. Harris. Honestly, it was the most beautiful piece, but it's hard to get support for new musicals in UK. So unfortunately, it hasn't latched anything yet, but hopefully in time it will, because it's a gorgeous, gorgeous piece.
Here's hoping. What's your dream role? Do you have a dream role traditionally played by a female?
So
this one's probably slightly less likely to happen, unless we do a gender-bend version of a musical.
I can't actually think of one, to be honest. For me to play, I don't know. I'm literally running through loads of musicals in my head going, what about? But I can't think of one in particular that I go, I'd really like to play that female character. Or, as I said in the previous question, that character.
Any character, full stop.
Yeah.
A couple more questions. What's your favourite musical theatre song?
For obvious reasons, my favourite kind of all time or from the beginning was Cell Block Tango from Chicago, because what a tune. Love it. But also, I mean, music's a funny thing, isn't it? Tastes are always ever evolving and changing. I think Tim Minchin's an absolute genius. I love his work so much. I'd love to meet him one day. And I really like the song Quiet from Matilda.
Yeah,
I think it's beautiful. I mean, I love them all, but that one particularly, I feel, is very poignant.
No, that's a great one. I've got to say, yeah, Quiet's a good song. Last question: what is your top 5 shows?
Top 5 shows are I don't know. Sorry. Top 5 shows. I, at the moment, am a big fan of Hamilton. I also loved In the Heights, which was kind of his predecessor to Hamilton, I suppose. I really like Bring It On, though I've never seen the show. So,
Coming back this Christmas or the next year.
Yes, and Marvin's playing Twig. Marvin Charles, as in Swing from Jamie.
Oh, so yes.
Yeah, and Bianca's in it as well. And so yeah, I'm very excited for that. I definitely want to go and see that because I love the show. I've never seen Our House, but I'm gutted that I haven't because I've heard nothing but the most amazing things about it. And I'd probably put Chicago in the list again for obvious reasons.
I was about to say, surely Chicago must be in the list.
Yeah, I mean,
Jamie must be far close up there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Very, very powerful show.
Goes without saying.
Yeah, like I said, there's no particular order to any of those shows.
No, we don't expect.
I enjoy a load of shows, and I've never really thought to rank them. If I'm honest, I've never really thought.
We just say the top 5. No, we don't expect you to go. Oh, so on top is this. And...
No, but I just mean I watch and enjoy shows rather than I don't know. Just in my head, I've never really gone. These are the good ones, and these aren't. I've just gone. I enjoyed that. I really enjoyed that. That was amazing. Do you know what I mean? Like
that could have been better.
I don't think I've ever really not enjoyed a show. I always get something from it.
Have you never seen Latchman as Jamie?
What?
He could do a lot better. If you've never seen Luke Latchman as Jamie, he could do a lot better.
Yeah, he's alright.
No,
I've seen better.
No, not much better. Put it that way. Just as good for different reasons. I think that's the reason. But the last thing, have you heard of the Ice Bucket Challenge?
Yes.
We're not going to ask you to do it. Don't worry. The only thing with that is we say that is because obviously you poured the ice over yourself and then you had to nominate somebody. So we've come up with the West End Talks nomination. The purpose of this activity is to get that person, whoever you nominate, so you can minimum one person. You can nominate as many as you want, but the challenge is to get them in to do a talk. So the thing is to name this person on the chat just now, and then go on to Twitter, and then put up a tweet to say just done my talk with West End Talks, and tag them in it and say now it's your turn. So this can be anyone from theatre, film, or TV, but somebody you know, because the point is to get them in for a chat in need of charity.
God, that's terrifying. I don't know. I don't want to put anyone on the spot. Because what if I choose them and then they're like, I don't want to do that?
I don't think anybody will.
No?
I think everybody so far that has been named has come in. Either we've done it or they're in the process of getting over.
Okay, because I really want to watch the interview with them, I would nominate Hugh and Mackley.
All right, yeah.
He I suppose the longest thing that I know of him doing was Starlight Express, which he did after Working. Oh no, he did Our House with Fabian Eloise, who choreographed Working, straight after that, and then went to Germany and did Starlight Express. So I'd love to watch that. I'd love to know all about that. So I nominate Hugh and Mackley.
Okay, so tag them in a post on Twitter. We'll try and get them in. If you just do that as soon as we're done this, then that's us. But that's us at the end. Thank you for joining us, Luke. It's been an absolute privilege.
Thanks,
all that's left for you guys at home to remember is the charity. We're not just here for fun. As much as I'd like to hope Luke did have fun answering your questions, we're not just here for fun. We obviously have Acting for Others who are supporting. So please, the link will be in the bio below. So as Tesco's is saying, we have still Tesco's saying, every little helps. We know it's copyrighted, but hey ho. Anything at all you can donate for Acting for Others will be very much appreciated. Pop it in the link below and join us next time when we have the person you actually talked about earlier. A big connection with Luke Latchman, literally, because he's the guy that you snogged in Spring Awakening.
Oh yeah.
It's Adam James Dawson, who most recently was in The Pirate Queen. He was in The Pirate Queen at the Coliseum, but obviously he was also in Spring Awakening with Luke. So we'll ask him about did you enjoy the kiss with Luke Latchman?
Oh yeah, please do. I can't wait to watch that too.
Asks when will the next time you'll be kissing me? I'll put that question in for him.
Yeah, I'd say from me.
From
when
Luke.
I see you again.
When will I see you again?
We used to call each other show boyfriend. I was like, hey, show boyfriend.
Right, okay, I'll just take a note of that. I'll remember that. The show boyfriend asks when will you meet again. But thank you very much for joining me, Luke. It has genuinely been an absolute privilege getting to know you.
Thanks for having me.
Take care. Bye, guys.
See you in the future. Ta-ra.